ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ॐ गणानां त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कविनमुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठाराजं ब्रह्मणं ब्रह्मणस्पतानः शृण्वनुतिविसीदसादनं प्राणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वजनीवती दीनमावित्रयवतु गणेशाय नमः सरस्वत्यै नमः श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ श्रीमहागणाधिपतये नमः। वन्दे शम्भुमुमापतिं सुरगुरुं वन्दे जगत्कारणं वन्दे पनगभूषणं मृगधरं वन्दे पशूनां पतिं वन्दे सूर्यशशाङ्खवह्निनयनं वन्दे मुकुन्दप्रियं वन्दे भक्तजनाश्रयं च वरदं वन्दे शिवं शङ्करम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधकृष्णपदान् सहगना ललितश्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च। So another talk from the demon Govindas, who is simply trying to make a little advancement on this path towards Krishna consciousness. And I felt inspired to speak on this verse from the Bhagavad Gita. Vyavasayatmika buddhi ekaha kurunandana Bahushakka hyanantascha buddhayo vyavasahinam. Those who are on this path are resolute in purpose, and their aim is one. O beloved child of the Kurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many-branched. So, realizing that a huge aparada has been committed by this one, we find ourselves in this material world and struggling at that, because material consciousness can never really satisfy us. Only the mercy of the Gurudev and this Pushti Marg, this path of mercy, is quite ubiquitous to all different paths of Sanatana Dharma, because without mercy we cannot make any advancement. But mercy must also come from us, from ourselves. We must be merciful on ourselves and not put the cart before the horse, if you catch my drift. That we need to find our daemon, our will, our true will. Some in the West call this the life's work. What is your life's work? So a few months back last year, I was exploring, as I'm quite irresolute because my aim is not one, as I'm not really digested the essence of the Bhagavad Gita, despite so many years of trying. But if you add it up, it's probably not years, because I've made some progress and then taken some steps backwards. So it's a case of trying to remain nishta, to achieve this nishta platform. We first is faith, shraddha, sadhu sangha, associating with sadhus, bhajana kriya, actually doing the bhajan, whatever form that takes, the nine forms of the 9 limbs of bhakti, and then anatta nivritti, which can seem like an ocean at the beginning, which is incredibly difficult to pass. The platform of anatta nivritti, it still goes on, even up to the platform of bhava and prema. Before that, anatta nivritti will always be going on. And the point is that life is not meant for anatta nivritti, it's meant for artha pravritti. And Ram. Sorry, I was just distracted. The irresolute nature of those in material consciousness who hanker for so many things, for money, for wealth, prestige. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has said, Nadanam na janam na sundarim. And this verse relates to sadhu sangha, that in order to achieve pakka sadhu sangha, we have to be willing to pay the price, because it's not a cheap thing. This bhakti life is very precious, and the invitation is always there, but the mercy may not have arrived in our chitta to facilitate these things. So we shouldn't be fanatical and force ourselves. Initially, some degree of strength of will is required, so the searching goes on. So we find that the search does reach, if not a conclusion, a possible dedication. This takes us to Nishta, and then from Nishta, Ruchi. That's the next platform, if you want to call it a platform, to get taste for what? For the 9 limbs of bhakti. But Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has because then they before I forget who, but we hear this term Panchanga Bhakti. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur has said that he coined this phrase Ekanga Bhakti. And what is that Ekanga? Is Nam Sankirtan, Harinam Sankirtan, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare. So then by chanting Hare Krishna, Cheto Dapanamajanam, Bhava Mahadavagni Navapanam, Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam, Vidyavadu Jivanam, that eventually, by cleaning the mirror of the heart, which will still the mind, then so many things will happen. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling us in his Shikshashtakam that Vidyavadu Jivanam, that this chanting is the very wife, is Vidyavadu. Vadu means wife, it's the wife of Vidya. So we get the knowledge, and we have to, but it's not just enough to have knowledge, because knowledge is always there. We have to accept the knowledge, and we have to bring it to our daily conscious mind and daily practice. Consistency is key. It's these different levels of Nishta, Ruchi, Sadhusanga, all of these things, they all complement each other. It's not that it's just a simple ascension process. It's the means and the end, that we eventually when we do get ruchi, we'll want to chant and we'll want to engage in bhajananand and gosjanand, that the preaching will come. And it's interesting the etymology of the word preach, because generally people in the West, they say they don't like this word preaching. They say, if oh, he's preachy, they say, oh, he's very preachy, he's telling us what we should and shouldn't do. So I'm not saying that. The choice is yours. The choice is up to each one of us to find our life's work, and that may not be, we may decide that we don't want to be a Gaudiya, and that's when aspiring for the platform of Nishtha is so important, because if this really is what we want to be doing, and generally in my experience I've found that there's very little else that can give so much satisfaction, then we must accept the import of the Shastra that we've read and heard, of our Shravanam and Kirtanam and Smaranam, that are hearing, chanting and remembering. So it's a long journey, a long lonely journey home, up until that point of Nishtha, where we are fixed and we can get the mercy of other sadhus, because it's very difficult to go it alone in bhakti. We need to find our friends, because Sakya-ras is essential to us. If we're aspiring for Madhurya Rati, then we must find that friendship and give up our bad association. And this is a very great hurdle for many people, because we're attached to, why? Because there's affection for our loved ones, and in this instance it's very difficult to make the decision about specifically living in the Dham full time. But we have to be so humble, because there's, I don't know how many thousands of people living in Vrajmandal, but for not just a Kanishta Adhikari, but a beginner, but an actual Mlecha like myself, who's come from a very low birth. I thought it was a high birth for some time, but perhaps I shouldn't be so offensive. Then what hope is there? And that hope can only be found really in Nam, Rup, Guna and Leela. That if we want to enter the Leela, then the price must be paid. And some people say pay any price, some people will try and hold you back. So to find the balance between what we can and actually can't achieve. It's said that we shouldn't be fanatical, because this is bad if we're forcing ourselves in a direction which doesn't feel particularly easy. Then we're a jnani. Then this knowledge is just going around in our minds, and if we haven't accepted it, it won't take fruit. The bhakti lata, it starts with the bij of Shraddha and it grows, but as it grows, we have to, it goes through some growth spurts like we all do, and then, but once it actually starts making branches, and those branches start making more sub branches, then the focus is to really walk those branches, to be part of the Chaitanya tree. And it's not necessary that we all join some main trunk, some big institution, because the institutional consciousness can hold us back. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's famous words come to mind about the great ecclesiastical establishments of the world are like the dikes and dams holding back the unstoppable force of the living spiritual tradition. So tradition is what defines us. Scientists have now said, on the basis of some studies, that they studied I've been distracted. I forget what I was saying now. Anyway, those who are on this path are resolute in purpose, and their aim is one. So the aim of the Ragatmika Bhaktas, those who are already in Chintamani Dham, Braja Gokul, is to help us. Otherwise, what is the point of all the preaching that the Parampara participants who are actually have a Siddhadeha and are absorbed in that, as we all do, but because of the dross of ignorance of avidya, then we don't find it. Oh, what was that point about the... I can't remember now. I started thinking about Western science and it completely threw me off the point. So choose which path you want to take and stick to it. There's no need to try and digest every culture in the world. It's certainly very interesting, and we can be eclectic. Like it said, we can be like Brahmas, bees, flying from flower to flower, tasting the nectar from different flowers, and this is certainly possible because Gurudev is one, but takes many forms, such as Mata Pita Guru, mother and father, Vatma Pradakshina Guru, the one that shows you the path, Shiksha Gurus, Diksha Guru, and Chaitya Guru. So the point of this talk is a little bit and I think is a bit hazy in my own mind, because we're just making a mockery really of everything that we've been taught, because I'm not accepting it. But like I said, we shouldn't be fanatical. We should take some time to reflect every day. Even if you just give God 1 minute a day is a big thing. If you can give him 10 minutes a day, it's a big thing. And generally it takes about 2 to 3 hours to chant 16 rounds, and there's 24 hours in a day, so we should chant our rounds. This is a simple thing. You get what you get out what you put in. A strong faith that by Krishna consciousness one will be elevated to the highest perfection of life is called Vyavasayatmika intelligence. The Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 2262 states, Shraddha Shabde Shraddha Shabde Vishwas Kahe Sudrita Nischaya Krishna Bhakti Kaila Sava Kama Krita Haya. So this is a very elevated understanding of bhakti that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is giving in Chaitanya Charitamrita, is that bhakti fulfills all other karmas, sava karma kritahaya, that the doing of bhakti, the bhajana kriya, hopefully with some bhava and prem, as prem's always there, never leaves us, then there's no need to engage in so many of these irresolute practices. We can become simple, sorrel devotees. That there's this satisfaction we all can take, because this is Sanatana Dharma is not a religion of India, it's not a religion of Africa, it's not a religion of America or China or Britain or any of these countries. It's something for the whole world, and not just the whole world even, but for the whole universe, and not just the whole universe, the whole Jagat Tattva. So I'll end here. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhe evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.